Because I'm quite a small female and you're quite big, I'm going to place you in handcuffs because you're an unknown risk to me, okay? So
right, does it have to be a male? You're not stopping recording?
You can handcuffs on by anybody.
In this episode, 3x Audit is on a public pavement outside a police station, quietly recording police vehicles coming and going. That alone should be a non-event. Instead, officers step out and abandon any trace of proper policing. The focus isn't behaviour or threat, it's his clothing. A balaclava becomes a substitute for grounds, and that snap judgment is enough for them to detain and search him. The irony is that this overreach doesn't end on the pavement. It later turns into a civil claim that costs the police money for doing exactly what they shouldn't have done.
What is it you're filming today?
Well, a minute, them.
Him? Just
No, not him. The gatehouse.
Oh, the gatehouse?
Yeah, because I was just walking up and down taking pictures.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping to get a police car with the blue lights coming out.
Yeah.
I've got that now, but you spelt the shot anyway.
Okay.
And the gentleman come out and committed a Section 5 public order offence.
Okay, what happened?
He said I'm not allowed to film.
Yeah.
And I explained to him I'm on a public road.
Yeah.
So
Right from the jump, things are heating up. A sergeant claims I've been verbally abusive in a public place, but I've got it all recorded. Watch closely as a simple drone flight turns into a tense standoff with officers running a story that doesn't hold water. From the first word, you'll see the battle isn't about facts, it's about control. This is policing by allegation, not by evidence, and the fallout is about to get real.
I can film.
Yeah.
And he called me an effing idiot, and it's all on film.
Right, okay. The gentleman in the...
Yeah, he had a security coat on with a big beard.
Right, okay. And you've got that on film?
I have, yeah.
Okay. What, are you wanting us to do anything about that? Were you planning on reporting it, or...?
I've just reported it to you, haven't I?
Right. At the moment, obviously, I'll deal with what you've just reported to me. Okay,
yep.
We'll take that into consideration. But we've had a report before anything of that has come through that there's been a male walking around with a balaclava on. Okay?
It's not a balaclava.
Okay, that's the report we've had. Okay,
right.
Because you are matching that description.
Yep. I'm
detaining you for a stop search under Section 1 of PACE. Okay.
Really?
Based on the fact that that sort of equipment. Okay.
So what's your reasonable grounds?
My grounds are
that I'm wearing a balaclava, which isn't a balaclava.
Okay. You match the description. You are covered in your face. Okay.
They surround him immediately, speak to him like he's already in trouble, and the moment he doesn't fold, the stop escalates. Section 1. PACE is invoked not because of conduct, but because of how he looks. The entire description amounts to this. Face covered, therefore suspicious. That's not policing, that's profiling by outfit. If wearing a face covering outside a police station is enough to justify a search, then the power has no limit at all. Section 1 doesn't exist to let officers check people just in case. It requires a real link to specific items and a real reason before detention happens. Here, the logic runs backwards. Detain first, then see if anything turns up. That's why this stop collapses under scrutiny. Not because it was handled badly, but because it was never lawful to begin with.
We're looking at offences such as theft, going equipped, that sort of thing.
Okay.
That sort of equipment can be used for that. Okay.
Right, so what are you looking for then, particularly?
So any further equipment that could be used in the course of conducting an offence such as theft or going equipped, okay?
All right.
So because
you do realise you'll get a civil claim over this?
Okay, that's fine,
yeah.
Yeah. Right, because I'm quite a small female and you're quite big, I'm going to place you in handcuffs because you're an unknown risk to me, okay? So
right, does it have to be a male? You're not stopping recording?
You can handcuffs on by anybody. Yeah.
What are you doing holding the handcuffs?
I'm doing like that, holding around.
Now it gets heavier. They approach with the assumption that I've sworn at the sergeant, treated like gospel truth. I cut straight through it, pointing to my body cam footage. But refusing to give my details suddenly escalates into a claim about terrorist activity. That's right, they pivot from a minor allegation to implying national security risks. It's not about law, it's a pressure tactic designed to intimidate, to get me to comply, and it works if you don't know your rights.
Well, it does. Look at your nails, you nearly scratched me with them.
Used as a weapon, can't they?
Can they?
So
what, when I'm in handcuffs?
Yes.
I can assure you now I'm going to cooperate. I don't agree to the search and I don't consent to the search, I'll make that clear.
You don't have to consent to it, okay? I've detained you in Section 1 case, you don't have to agree to it. It's not a voluntary thing, okay? Right, will you want a copy of the stop search record?
Yes, I will.
Sorry, can you hold them for me while I just... Sorry.
Honestly, I'm not going to try and break out.
Yeah, but...
I'm not going to get far, am I?
The justification keeps drifting, and now it's pure speculation. Suddenly it's theft, not a specific offence, not a report, just a vague search for equipment that could be used for theft. That's not lawful grounds, it's a fishing expedition. Section 1 doesn't let officers search someone to see if suspicion turns up. Calling this civil claim territory isn't bravado, it's accurate. Then the handcuffs go on, even though he's calm, compliant, and doing exactly what's asked. The explanation? She's a small female. He's an unknown risk. That isn't a risk assessment, it's a default excuse. Size and uncertainty don't justify restraint, behaviour does. This isn't risk management, it's convenience. Using cuffs to paper over weak grounds and officer anxiety, not any real threat.
Being in a public place with a face covering, that's the offence.
Right. What's your name, sorry, just so I can...
I don't give my name.
Okay. So I need it to complete the form, and also if you want to process your complaint about the public order thing, I'll need your details anyway.
Right. You can just call me FT.
FT, okay. I'm going to need more than that if you want me to deal with that complaint.
No.
Because I can't deal with that.
So you don't want to make a complaint about the Section 5 public order offence? Because you would need to give your details as a victim.
Alright, so if there's a murder and the person's dead, how do they make a complaint? Do they give their name? I don't think so.
That's quite a different situation.
Is it?
And we generally identify...
Right, we're getting on with the search. We've got better things to do than stand here talking around to you muppets.
You didn't have much better things to do because you were standing here filming, weren't you?
You had the grounds to search, explain to you and everything.
Well, yeah, apparently they're looking for, what is it you're looking for? Crowbars?
Can we use an identifier?
Wow.
Been detained in Section 1 of case on PC 3096. I'm policing from here, this police station here, Fly Police Station.
Congratulations.
So, been offered a copy of the search record?
I have been offered a copy of the search. You don't need my name for that though.
The Section 5 issue gets completely twisted here. 3 times Audits raises it early on because a member of the public approaches him and swears at him. That's the conduct that could actually amount to a public...
This is where the real tension hits. They keep twisting the law, threatening arrest under Section 24 if I don't hand over my personal details. Every refusal is met with circular logic. You're potentially committing an offense, so we may arrest you. It's classic misuse of power. Compliance gained through intimidation, not evidence. You'll notice how the officers refuse to check footage that would immediately clear me, instead relying on unverified claims. Eventually, I give my details, but not because I'm required by law, because the pressure leaves no other choice.
Order offence. Officers let that go, then later flip Section 5 on its head and point it back at him. Suddenly they want his name, claiming they can't progress the complaint without it, as if reporting an offence somehow turns you into the suspect. That's not how complaints work. You don't lose the right to report wrongdoing because you won't hand over personal details on demand. The timing gives it away. Section 5 only becomes important once officers are frustrated and looking for leverage. This isn't about dealing with disorder, it's about regaining control. Reframe the complainant as the problem, and the original behaviour quietly disappears.
Okay, so top cuff's going to come off first.
Shouldn't have been put on really, should it?
When you're detained for a search, it's the officer's choice whether to put you in handcuffs, but we are legally allowed to do so.
We'll see. So you can witness the markings on my hand?
Yep.
I'll go towards the... Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4 police cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 police officers. We all constables. No detectives here, is there? No inspectors. Couldn't detect anything, could they? What I might do later, I might film all these registrations in here as well. Alright. I'll probably just put them on the internet.
What are you going to do that for?
Because I like taking videos and putting them on the internet.
People's registrations of the vehicle.
It's not illegal though, is it?
You can film wherever you want.
Exactly.
The search ends exactly how it was always going to, with nothing found. When the cuffs come off, the markings on his wrists are unmistakable, deep impressions that don't come from brief or necessary restraint. When restraint leaves visible marks, it stops being about safety and starts looking like punishment for not going along with the narrative. Then comes the quiet contradiction that finishes it all. When he asks if continuing to film vehicles is illegal, the officer replies, "You can film whatever you want." That single line detonates everything that came before it. If filming is lawful at the end, it was lawful at the start, and the detention, cuffs and search collapse with it. What's left isn't confusion, but a clear example of how quickly rights disappear when officers don't like how they're exercised.
So why'd you wear the thin blue line badge then? Part of the gang? Do you know more people, the public, have died in police custody in the last 30 years than police officers have died on active duty in the last 100 years? Where's your badge for that? Silence. Do you feel proud today? Done a good job today? Go home and tell the children.
I advise you that your actions could be construed as hostile reconnaissance towards terrorism.
What? I just said you've done a good job today.
Police personal vehicles.
Hostile.
For the purpose of putting them on
Terrorism.
for whatever reason that might
Oh,
be.
go on, keep digging that hole.
It's hostile reconnaissance for terrorism offences.
Hostile. If I was hostile reconnaissance, I wouldn't be overt, would I?
No,
I'd be
you don't understand
covert.
what hostile reconnaissance means. It's all right.
You're allowed to do reconnaissance.
You're not
If I
allowed
wanted to, I could map all this ground.
It could be construed as committing hostile reconnaissance for terrorism offences. I'm just
Right.
making you aware
Right,
of
okay,
that.
let me make you aware of this. If you think I'm a terrorist, you should leave me alone and contact the anti-terrorism squad. Because if you thought I was a terrorist, you wouldn't all come up to me like this, would you?
When the officer starts calling his filming hostile under terrorism legislation, it gives the game away completely. Recording police vehicles and uploading it online isn't a terrorism indicator. It's something thousands of people do every day. There's no intelligence, no threat markers, no hostile intent, just a camera and officers uncomfortable with being observed. Using terrorism language here doesn't make it serious. It makes it sloppy. 3 times Audit's response is the only one grounded in reality. If you genuinely think this is terrorism, stop posturing and call counter-terrorism. That's the line. Either there's a real concern that justifies specialist involvement, or there isn't. And the fact nothing happens beyond dropping the word tells you everything. Terrorism isn't a vibe, and using it like one exposes how empty this stop really was.
What I said was, your actions could be construed as hostile reconnaissance.
I've had
for
enough of you now,
terrorism
off you pop.
offences.
Not talking to you anymore. Talk rubbish.
We can be here just as much as you can be here.
Oh, yeah, I know you can. But I can tell you to off your pop. Anybody filming?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you're supposed to tell me at the first available opportunity.
Am I?
As part of your policy. You don't even know your own policy. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Can you just inform him that if he swears at me again, I will press charges?
You're watching too much American TV. You don't press charges.
Alright, then I'll file a claim.
You can make it. Do you want your coffee?
Yes, I do.
There you go. Right, he's having a word with him, okay? And we'll leave you to it. But
Should have left me to it in the first place.
no, we had grounds to stop and speak to you instead.
I don't think you did.
Okay, that's fine. Be mindful of what my colleagues just said to you, okay?
What, that I'm a terrorist? If you thought I was a terrorist, you should act on it now. Off your pop. Off your pop. Off your pop. See you later.
Right, so you stand here all day.
Alright, cool. Yeah, see? Knew you'd leave first.
I'll bid you.
Wait, are you going to the shop to buy some polish for your boots?
Once
Not
they
seen-
finally get my details, the whole situation collapses. All the public order threats, the terrorism claims, the endless sections quoted, they vanish instantly. No offense is pursued, no evidence is reviewed. This interaction wasn't about enforcing the law, it was about taking my information. And when I asked for accountability, suddenly time and resources don't exist. The officers were decisive when they wanted info, but unavailable when I needed scrutiny. Court is the only place left to hold them to account, proving this was never policing, it was a power play.